Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, or good morning if you happen to be where this young lady is, and she is in California. And she's in an extremely attractive place by the look of the website. Unfortunately, I've never been there, but I'm told the catchphrase is "Follow me to Tuolumne," and so welcome Lisa Mayo from Tuolumne.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No problem, Lisa. As I said, I've never been there before. I have been to Yosemite, and I've been to California, which I believe you're in California, but I believe you're quite close to Yosemite. Where actually are you?
So if you're looking at a map and you see San Francisco, we're directly east of San Francisco, just about 2.5 to 3 hours. And there is a chance you might have been in Tuolumne County since over half of Yosemite National Park is actually in Tuolumne County.
Well, there you go. So I
There you
probably have been there.
go.
Are there any pictures of me, blue plaques or anything that says that I've been there? No.
I haven't seen any warnings or anything, so no.
No. Okay. Only of the big bad bears. So lots of people. I've just been speaking to a number of people in the USA, and many of them, uh, although I don't think they have any empirical facts and figures yet, anecdotally, their hoteliers and their parks and their attractions are all saying that 2020 has been a better year than perhaps they would have thought, given the pandemic, mainly because of domestic tourism. Is that true of your destination?
Well, in our destination, we definitely have had some domestic tourism. Um, I wouldn't say that it's probably better than expected because of the pandemic, but certainly not um, anywhere near what we had hoped for 2020. That being said, I think what the pandemic did is introduced a lot of people to our area, and so we had a lot of people, as I mentioned, we're just a couple hours from San Francisco and from the Silicon Valley. And so a lot of folks, they wanted to kind of get away and get an escape, and they looked at this area as a safe place to go. And so in that sense, we did see quarter 4 of last year really improve over quarter 3. And I think that's just people that were wanting to get out and to quarantine in a place they felt was maybe safer than the big cities.
And is that safety image and that open space image something that you're going to try and major on in the forthcoming destination marketing game, if you like, that everybody's competing for tourists? Is that something you're going to push forward?
It definitely is. At one point during the summer, we were able to market before the second shutdown, and we launched a campaign called Wander Freely, because you really can come here and you can wander freely and not necessarily see other people. If you're going up into the high Sierra, or you're going into the less crowded parts of Yosemite as well. So that's definitely a campaign that it really was making some great traction before we had to stop it again. So we will be relaunching that when the time is right, which will hopefully be in a month or so. And really talking about those areas that we have where you don't have to be right next to someone else. And again, even you in Yosemite, we have areas like Hetchy, which is an incredible destination within Yosemite National Park, and it's uncrowded. A lot of people they want to run to the valley in Yosemite, which I don't blame them. It's incredible. Um, but we're encouraging people to kind of disperse and go into those less crowded areas like Hetchy or the Tuolumne Grove of giant sequoias. They're not going to see nearly the people they'll see in the valley floor.
So, in terms of marketing your destination to international visitors, what what would be, if you had to say, the top two or three things that international visitors would be attracted to? Obviously, there's the open spaces. There's, you're part of Yosemite or very close to Yosemite National Park, et cetera, et cetera. What's your main focus in terms of, somebody like myself? Why would I come there?
Well, we have a very large area that we cover, and we have 3 different highways within the area, and each kind of represents a different way to visit. And one is Highway 120, and that would be Yosemite, as you mentioned. The other highway is Highway 49, and that highway is celebrates California's gold rush. And so with that, we have a couple of state parks that also lend to celebrating the gold rush. We have Columbia State Historic Park, and it's just one of those neat places where there's all the brick buildings, and it's very historic by our standards, of course, probably not so much by yours, but it does have, you can go gold panning. It has a stagecoach there. There's restaurants you can go to. There's a blacksmith. You can really immerse yourself into that gold rush history. And in normal times, they have a number of events throughout the year too. Like they'll have a tent town, and everyone that works there dresses up in the 1800s clothing. And so you do get that feeling of authenticity, and it's a great experience. The whole town is closed to traffic except for the stagecoach. So it's nice, families can come and let the kids run and not worry about it. And then we also have Railtown 1897 State Historic Park, and that park houses Sierra Number 3, which we call the movie star train because it's been in so many westerns, and I think it's been in like over 300 films and television commercials. The most recent and the one that most people know about now would be Back to the Future 3 with Michael J. Fox. And so they love to see that steam engine up close and personal. You can do a great tour there. So I think for international travelers that have, either done Yosemite or want to do something in addition, we have a lot to offer here in that respect. And then we also, our third corridor is the Highway 108 corridor, and that is the High Sierra. So we have a lot of great hiking. Our elevation goes from near sea level to over 10,000 feet. So there's lots of alpine lakes and really year-round recreation. We have a number of guides that can take people out on fishing trips or hikes or even stargazing and photography. So lots and lots to do in the area.
Sea level to 10,000 feet sounds more than just a hike. Actually, sounds like you might need oxygen at the end of it.
Yeah, you might, but the guides will provide it for you.
Now, one of the issues about open spaces is now they are getting a reputation for being the new centres of overtourism. In other words, you're going to be in a queue in your car to get into the park. You're going to go in a queue to this and that, and then when you get there, there's all the can't park, there's cafes, the restaurants are all busy. How do you guard against that? How do you protect your area to make sure it's as you describe? In other words, if I go there, I want to go there for that. I don't want to be in a big queue and crowded with other people.
Right, and that's a great question. And one of the things I think we're very fortunate in that we do have the northern half of Yosemite in our area, and those do tend to be a lot less crowded. And we often encourage people, if they're going to go to the park, to go there early. We've actually worked with the other gateways and have come up with some programs just letting people know, come early or go in late. Getting there at like 10 o'clock in the morning is going to be, you're going to be in that queue. But again, with the northern half of Yosemite in our area, it's a separate entrance to get into Hetch Hetchy. And so we really tout that a lot and encourage people to pick up a picnic lunch or to take a picnic out there. That's really important. We have areas on the other corridors as well that get fairly busy. In particular, Pinecrest Lake Resort is it's a great high country lake that a lot of families go to year after year. It's becoming very popular. And so we're trying to, again, educate people about other places they can go to enjoy water, where they're not all, everybody's not going to the same place at the same time. That's important. And we're working with, we try to work with media to help spread that word. There's, again, a lot of area here to cover. And so just trying to get people into those places that tend to be crowded at times that they normally wouldn't is really one of our goals.
Okay. Do you think that the pandemic, in many respects, has actually given you some opportunities in that, pre-pandemic, people that would have come to San Francisco or to Los Angeles would have stuck in their there's lots to do and see in both, San Francisco, Napa Valley, Oakland, etc. But now people might want to go there and, as soon as they get there, maybe establish themselves. With no disrespect to San Francisco, at the moment they probably want to get out of there and go into places like follow me to Tuolumne and the national parks and so on and so forth. Is this an opportunity for you to actually get some of that tourism gold that you've been searching for so long?
It absolutely is. It's we've already seen that on some level. A lot of people who maybe didn't think that they were rural people or wanted or mountain people, that didn't want to get out of the city, but have now because of that feeling like they could stretch their legs. They've been, pent up in their homes, and so just getting out and being able to have some freedom, I think, has been um, very much comforting to a lot of people. And so I think our area has been introduced to people that normally would not have thought about coming here. And I believe we will see a lot more of that as we get to roll out marketing here again, hopefully in the next couple months. It's definitely been an interesting opportunity with that kind of what we were talking about before. Having new people up here or people that aren't used to recreating in the outdoors, we have a responsibility to educate them as well on how to travel in the outdoors and making sure that they have communication devices if they get stuck somewhere, making sure they take food and water everywhere, making sure they have a full tank of gas. I mean, these are the kind of things that we have already seen a couple instances where people didn't have that experience and they've been caught out in the snow. And so that's become a part of our job as well. We're not, as you know, destination marketing organizations are we're doing a lot more with management as well now of the destination.
Good. Well, it sounds, Lisa, an ideal place to go. It sounds fabulous, quite frankly. And I'm sure I'm not alone in thinking that if I was going to come to California and I was going to fly to San Francisco, one of the places I would follow is Tuolumne. And I wish you the very, very best of luck in your international marketing. It's admirable, very, very
Thank,
good. And
thank
I
you
look
so
forward
much.
to maybe speaking to you again in, maybe 6 months' time and seeing, the end of this year, maybe 9 months' time, seeing how you've got on with your efforts. So thank you very much and have a fantastic day.
Thank you so much, Graham.